Anime's greatest strength, and equally its greatest weakness, lies in the length of its episodes. On average, you're looking at 24 minutes per ep, and at least 2 of those minutes belong to the OP, and another 2 go to the ED. So in reality, when the last chord is struck and the credits have rolled, you've only watched 20 minutes of an animated story. 20 minutes to tell a story. This is one of the big reasons that the 3-episode anime test exists. With such a short duration afforded to it, anime asks its audience to give it time to get going. This is a strength because as a creator you have to find creative ways to develop your vision in the length of time it takes to cook an omelette. And for an audience, we can fit more animated goodness into our gobs because we don't have to sit down for hours to finish one series. Yet due to the episodic nature of anime and the way we in the West now consume it, more and more people drop shows like hot potatoes. I'm hungry, okay? Jesus. When I was younger, the only way I could watch anime was either by importing the DVD months or sometimes years after it aired in Japan, or watching badly subbed versions in 10-episode increments on YouTube. Haha, oh, those were the days. Now I can watch anime 24 hours a day if I want to, just with the click of a button, in sub, in dub, in every genre imaginable, but most importantly, I can watch it just 1 hour after it airs in Japan. Seasonal anime for Western eyes has given a whole new burst of life for the anime community, and allowed us to stay current where in the past we were light years behind. However, it's also dulled our patience. Comparatively, Netflix's general model has always been to drop its shows in full series chunks, and as a result it's given birth to the box set binge watchers. They've adopted this same method for anime, and although this is changing thanks to the passion in our community, it's not going away. With an $8 billion budget for new content and a sizable amount of that going into anime, Netflix of course want to drop ONAs like it's nobody's business. And they have been, week after week. Let's say for example you fancy watching Be the Beginning. You watch the first episode and you kind of like it, so you go to watch the next and you don't fully understand where the story is going, but why not give it another episode? It's only 20 minutes, right? And then before you know it, you've watched all 12 and you're either satisfied or unfulfilled, but regardless, the option to watch it all now, right this very second, is available to you. When you imported Love Hina from Japan, you spent your hard-earned cash on that, ecchi, so you sure as hell were going to watch every single episode, even though your mum could walk in at any minute and ask appallingly why you're watching animated girls naked in a hot spring. It's art, mum, okay? Seasonal anime doesn't have this benefit. It's asking you to wait, to let it develop, to breathe. But why wait for something to get good when you can drop it and move on to the next thing? Because after all, there are thousands of options available to you right now. This is why we see a show's score and favour waver week to week during its seasonal run. It can go from a 10 to a 7 real quick, and as soon as a bad episode airs, we drop that show in a fit of dissatisfied rage. 20 minutes to tell a story. 20 minutes to hook you. 20 minutes to change everything. In no time at all, that anime you're watching week in week out can drop one episode that blows the whole story out of the water, that leaves your jaw on the floor while you frantically try and build your own DeLorean so that you can leap into the future and watch the next episode. And never has this fact been more prevalent than with the currently airing Darling in the FranXX. Studio Trigger and A1's collaboration gave birth to Asushi Nishigori's brainchild, a brand new mecha in a decade where the genre looked to be dead. Now this show does hook you from episode 1. The Trigger art style is amazing, it's got unexpected scripting and of course, an alluring lead waifu. The episode ends with a strange kind of payoff, but the show does a 180 flip into the ecchi pool so fast that the resulting splash left many an anime fan soaked with bitter disappointment. And so it quickly fell off the watch list for a lot of the community. If you did stick with it, then maybe you left it by the side of the road around about episode 5 or so, when you have more questions rather than answers. So unless you avidly watch a lot of AniTubers, post in the forums, or generally consider yourself a part of the active anime community, then Darling in the FranXX may have landed forever on your drop list. And oh boy, was that a mistake. In true Studio Trigger style, episode 13 changes everything. It changes the game. It is the very definition of a perfect episode. Questions were answered, the world was built up in a big way where it had only been subtle before, and it spearheads this show into what looks to be a fantastic second arc. If you go back now and watch from episode 1, you will see exactly where Nishigori was steering this mech, and I guarantee when episode 24 airs and the whole show is available to watch, this will be revered as a modern classic. The payoff from episode 13 is outstanding, but this isn't the first or the last time this has happened in anime. Even as new as this season we've seen examples, such as Violet Evergarden. Now I'm fortunate enough to live in the UK, so I got to watch the episodes as they aired weekly, which was fantastic. But I'm equally jealous now of my friends from America who get to watch it all in a oneer, cause this show, it kinda needs that. I love Violet Evergarden in such a huge way, however I saw so many flaws in its design that perhaps wouldn't have bothered me so much if I could have watched it all in one fell swoop. For me, the game changer came in episode 8, when Violet goes back to her past, and secured itself as a masterwork in episode 10, when I had to mask my own red eyes for the rest of the day. I stuck with it though. I got my payoff. Even though it took time. Now this is not a new phenomenon. We can date it back to even the most classic of anime classics, Steins Gate, which is jumping onto another world line this spring to bring us Steins Gate Zero, and the original is wildly claimed to be one of the best animes of all time, for good reason. But it is a confusing although entertaining story right up until episode 12, when everything slots into place. It goes from being a great anime to a phenomenal one, episode after episode, ending with a conclusion that is just about one of the most satisfying things and downright brilliant endings in anime. Go back and watch it again, or even better, watch it for the first time, and all of these story points will slot into place. John Tater, Stern, Suzuha, Mayuri, everything that Yuki Hanada wanted you to know, he leaves in clues throughout the show's run. And you probably wouldn't have noticed them if you were waiting for this to air weekly in Japan back in 2011. It benefits now from being binge-watched. This can even happen in seasons. The first series of Boku no Hero Academia is great, but the second series takes it, shapes it, chews it out, spits it back at us and becomes one of the best examples of modern shonen. Haikyuu has a decent first series, a great second series, but the third is by far its best. The action, the intensity and the scripting were all leading up to season 3, and the payoff is so worth it. And even Black Clover gets good around about episode 17, but to be honest, if you're still watching this show up to episode 17, why am I still watching this show up to episode 17? That's a topic for another day. FULLMETAL Alchemist Brotherhood soars in later episodes. Clanad is good, but Afterstory is better. Made in Abyss was wrongly judged from its cutesy beginning and destroyed expectations as it went on. The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya is a binge-watch anime for sure. There are more examples than I can count, because the majority of shows that we love and grow to love need time. Of course, this isn't always the case. Being hooked from episode 1 is also standard fodder. Kakagurui, Kids on the Slope, Princess Principal, The Daily Life of High School Boys and Samurai Champloo all stand as shows that had me from the moment I set eyes on them. But even these shows had an episode that turned them around and kept me watching. The point is, our time is limited. There are only so many hours in a day, so many days in a month, so many months in a year, and so many years of your life. You're never going to be able to watch everything. But one episode can change everything. 20 minutes to tell a story. 20 minutes to hook you. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Hey, have you got a spare 20 minutes? Darling.